Right, so you can mute completely off your speaker. Good evening, everybody. I'm going to click on my record button right now. Record to this computer. Okay. So, good evening, everybody. Dr. Yakubu Balogun here from Intelinavis Careers, and I want to welcome everybody for this evening session. So, we are starting our monthly series where we're growing through tech. And tonight we'll be discussing data analysis and we'll be diving into Power BI. So, I want to welcome everybody for tonight's session. I've got a number of slides today to start this session. And this is 12 minutes after 7 p.m. So I'm going to try and make sure that the slide presentation, say 5 or 7 minutes, I should be through with slide presentation. And then we can go straight into Power BI. Because tonight, what we're doing is Power BI. So I've got some things as a way of welcoming everybody to tonight's session. And number one of this slide is essential skills for data analyst. If you want to be a data analyst, the assumption is every person joining this room listening to tonight's session, you've got a desire, you've got a longing, or you've got some amount of experience maybe in the world of data and analytics. Three very, very connected stuff is number one, data visualization, data manipulation tools, as well as programming. Okay? Now, each one of these can actually be a total standalone in some cases. But to be a very, very robust analyst, you need a knowledge, you need competency in all of this. And number one here is data visualization with tools like Tableau, Power BI, so that you can visualize, you can present your data. There's a couple of other stuffs for visualization. Like if you work on AWS, you have QuickSight, you have ClickSense in some other domains. So there's a good number of them. Even Zoho has got its own analytics for visualization. And then data manipulation, SQL, Postgre, all of these things are for you to be able to query these are relational databases. Then programming. There are some stuff that you can easily do in Excel. You can do in Power BI, but you can do in Python or you can do in Excel. Or sorry, you can do in Python or you can do in R for data analysis. Could also be some advanced analysis like machine learning, implementation. You rely on Python to be able to do these things. Now, what's the pathway to being a seasoned and an experienced data analyst? Now, a couple of persons speak with me, and the desire is, I know these things, or I've done these things before, but I've not been able to really solidify myself in this area. With regards to getting job, it seems like a mirage. And with regards to confidence in what I do, I'm unable to get there. Now, I've put this thing in three ways. Number one, if you can, seek internship. Internship opportunities will give you that very, very good standing where you're under very, very minimal pressure to deliver whilst you're learning, while you're trying to hone your skill in the domain. And you can have real world scenarios, data sets, team to work with, projects to work on while you're interning somewhere. But the pressure to deliver is very minimal. That's a good thing about that. Now you can have your own private projects. I say to people, do stuff. Because when you want to demonstrate yourself in anything, it is what you've done that really would count. So do stuff. Build portfolio project. Could be your personal stuff that you've got different data sets from different websites online, or you gather primary data. Analyze these things. Explore these things. Trying to get insight from these things. You can also obviously get involved in some open source projects, which if it's applicable to you. And then I put here that you need to collaborate. You need to collaborate. Get to work with people. Get to learn how to work as a team. Could be in the form of some hackathons, datathon, as they put it, or different kind of projects. Get involved. The more you collaborate, the more you work with people, you master the arts of teamwork. Very important. Okay? And yeah, I'm like, when you want to do projects, the thought I have in this slide is this. You want to do stuffs. I like to tell people, whatever you've known before, whatever background that you are coming from is very, very good that you leverage on that your background in what you're doing. If you're from finance background, the more you start to analyze stuff that connects to financial data, market trends, it naturally makes meaning to you. It's a lot more intuitive. So you can have a niche in that area. I'm a lot more in the oil and gas or in the energy sector. If I pick up any data sets that's within this energy sector, I kind of understand. You see, that subject matter knowledge, that domain expertise is why I say if you've got knowledge in healthcare, when you pick up healthcare data, how you can improve patient outcomes, how you can look at hospitalization, coronavirus data set is going to make lots of meaning to you, or marketing or e-commerce. Any kind of data set, you should be able to pick it up and make sense of it. Now, if you've started on the career or you want to start, how exactly would you enhance your career in this area? Number one, you see, is a step. You look at it, it's a very, very big domain, very number of steps to climb. Number one, stay updated. Keep building knowledge about current industry trends, study literature, get to know news, what is happening in your area. And attending session like what we're doing tonight is also part of it. Join professional networks, connecting with professionals, communities, forum, either on Facebook, on LinkedIn, or wherever, and seek mentorship, gaining guidance, experience from somebody that's experiencing these things, working in this domain, will be able to support you with their day-to-day experience. And any person that you already have started and you're thinking, what next? So I've got this kind of like a quadrant, I will put it, isn't it? So if you look at this, you see, if you look here, this is career advancement, okay? And this is basic level. So you can start here. So where you are at the entry level, you can seek entry level roles, roles that you can learn. You are given that opportunity to learn to hone your skill with minimal pressure. And with time, as you develop lots more skills, you can now start looking at more senior roles or leadership roles. Now, whilst you are in this place, you start building your skill by getting some certifications where you can. Somebody was speaking with me earlier in the week and saying, to understand the place of certification and asking me for suggestions like, what kind of certification can I do? What kind of stuff can I get involved in? So as soon as you're here and you started getting roles, try to build your knowledge, okay? If you can get some certification with that, you obviously will be advancing your level. You now have advanced soft skills, people management skills, data visualization skill, how you do stakeholder management and stuff like that. With that, you definitely will be progressing very well. I like this, my last slide, where I'm trying to say there's a door of opportunity that is open to everybody. There's a door of opportunity that is open to us in tech right now. I won't take too many time to go into trends to look at how many jobs are there. But if time permits, this session is meant to last for a max of 2 hours. If time permits, we might go to a website to see, but there are a good amount of opportunities there. There's a door open for everybody to launch in. And the way you can do it is, yes, when you start, you might have very, very limited amount of skills and knowledge. You are a novice, but when you take one step, another step, you get to a point where you see yourself mastering data analysis, you're achieving expertise, and you're making impactful contribution. And then you can launch in, get into the door of the opportunities here. Enough of all of this talk. Tonight we're doing Power BI. And this is the case we're analyzing. So what I've brought before you for this session tonight is we have a data set. And this data set, I've downloaded it from the internet. The data set is from the United States, and it's got lots of oil and gas, specifically oil and gas pipeline incident data. And the high level purpose of what we're doing tonight is we want to analyze this data set, or now we'll be able to improve pipeline safety, how we can reduce incident cost, obviously. So in the oil and gas sector, there's always incidents, pipeline incidents. Lots of things happen in the pipeline. Corrosion can cause some problem. Integrity issues can cause some problem in the pipe. You could have third-party interference. Some people coming to break the pipeline, illegal bunkering, or, I mean, there's a good number of stuff that can happen. And all of these things trigger incidents where you can have spill, you can have oil spill, and the whole environment is spilled, and there's oil everywhere. Environment is damaged. In extreme cases, You can obviously have explosion, you can have fire incidents and injuries. Fatality is also a possibility. Now, we have a whole number of data sets. So pipeline incidents in the US pose significant risk, environmental damage, financial losses, human casualties. Effective analysis of incident data is crucial for enhancing safety measures and optimizing operations. Now, that's exactly what we're trying to do. Tonight, we're going to look at some things, risk mapping. We want to identify high-risk areas using geographical data. We want to cost analysis, what's the cost of the incident, targeted interventions, economics, how exactly has it impacted the economy or the humans, casualties, the money spent or wasted, and we want to evaluate performance and compliance of all of these operators. We have different operators. Which one are causing problem? Which one are not causing problem? All of these are some of the stuff that we'll be dealing with tonight. And this is where we're going, Power BI. I just want to give you a very quick overview of how Power BI is. If you've used Power BI before, that's great. If you haven't, I'm going to try to take it slowly so everybody can understand what I'm talking about as we go Power BI. And we'll be building visual by visual as we progress tonight. So you're going to have these tabs here at the top. You're going to have all of these ribbons here, and then you're going to have this view, either a visualization view, table view, or here this model view. In recent one, we now have DAX as one of those views. And then we have all of these panes here or panels. So we can have data, visualization, filter. Our formatting will also go there in a moment when we start. And then you have this real estate area called the canvas. That's exactly where all of our visualizations and all the beautiful stuff we want to do tonight are going to be displayed. Then we can have one page and another page and another page. It's like Microsoft Excel where we have one sheet and another sheet and another sheet, okay? So now let me give you the data sets that we're going to be dealing with for tonight's section. So I'm going to give you the data sets we're dealing with tonight's session. And then as soon as we go cracking fully, I'm going to turn off my video. So I'll turn off my video for this session so we can go fully into analysis and you don't get to see my face and be distracted by my face. All you're going to see is going to be what we're doing. So allow me to turn off my video as we progress. So I'm going to display for you right now the data sets that we're working with in Excel. It's a CSV file. I'm going to show to you. We're going to have a quick look through the data sets and then we'll take it to Power BI and go and analyze it there. So my Excel is coming on, so I've just tried to open it. So this is what we are going to work with tonight. So that's exactly what we're working with tonight, okay? So we've got this data set right now. It's a lot of data, so lots of columns, over 40-something columns we've got. And rows, we've got lots of rows as well, okay? We've got lots of rows, you can see. So it's a whole lot that we're dealing with tonight. So it's 2,795 rows, okay? So just follow me. Let's do a very quick profile of this data. I want you to follow me. Let's just look at this data. Let's try to make some sense out of it. Let's try to have some understanding of this data set. Okay, good. When I look at data, you want to analyze data. Tonight, we're doing Power BI for the next 1 hour. So follow me through. If you have Power BI, you can open Power BI. If you want me to send you these data sets, I'm 100% happy to send these data sets across to you. And you can walk through it. You can get involved with everything that we're doing tonight. So this role doesn't mean anything. It's just an index, you know. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It started in 0 because I touched this data set with Python. And Python will start with 0. So that is why you have that column A. But forget about that. It doesn't mean anything to us. We're going to take it out while we progress. And I can as well just even remove it right now. If I delete this, that's fine. I can save this, not a problem. What you want to see is this is report number. Look at all of the columns, supplemental number, accidents. This is the time it happened, the operator ID, and these are the operators, you know, different oil and gas operators here. This is the time of the day, the time, the month, the year, where we have all of these incidents, okay? Now, if you come here, you have what facility, say BP, for example, what facility of BP did this happen? Now, the other thing you would see here is the pipeline location. Is it onshore or is it offshore? Okay. Now, is the pipeline above ground? Is the pipeline underground? Is it a tank? What's the type? Liquid type. Is it crude oil or whatever that was spilled? Liquid name and the city where it happened, the location, the state as well, the longitude and the latitude for the geolocating of where this had actually happened. What exactly caused the problem? Is it natural? Is it natural force damage, incorrect operation, material failure, welding or equipment failure, other causes, corrosion, and what's the subcategory? So all of these are stuff that we've been given. So this is what they are giving us, okay? We want to analyze this data. First thing first, I want you to always know, when you're given a data set and you take it to Power BI, you don't necessarily need all of the columns. You don't need all of the columns. It depends on the one you need. That's the one you use. Now, from my explanation right now about oil and gas pipeline, a little bit about oil and gas pipeline operation and what the objective of tonight's analysis is. Can anybody either drop it as a message or mute yourself and tell me what are some of the things you're thinking you'll be seeing from tonight's analysis? Can I hear you say anything? What do you think will potentially be some of the things that our analysis will be telling us? Some insights, some information that we can get from the analysis. Anybody want to have a go? Please, can anybody type something for me so that I know you're here listening? What do you think we'll be able to make out of the analysis? Anybody, quickly. Well, I want you to think about that. Whilst I go to Power BI right now, I want you to think about that. What do you think we're going to be able to make out of the analysis? I'll show you a sample of what we want to do tonight as a kind of flavor. So you have an idea of what we're trying to
say
achieve
graph representation of the data that you've just shown us on Excel.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Steven. Just stay on the line. Graph representation of the data. That is good. Very good. So now, what's the information now, the insight that in your mind will be able to get from the graphical representation?
I guess it will be a summary of the data, because obviously looking at the data on Excel is quite should I use the word cumbersome? I guess
Yes.
after processing it with data Power BI, it will be like what I would call a bird eye view of
Good.
all that data we've just been shown.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So like a summary, I like that. So we're going to be able to put together a summary, and from that, we'll be able to get some valuable insight to know what exactly has been happening. Okay, good. I'll give you an example. I was playing with this data set. I have something that looks like what we're going to be doing tonight. If you look at what I'm showing you now, this is Power BI. So when you say we're going to have like a graph, so this is something that looks like what we'll be doing tonight. Okay. And if you follow me through, we're going to be able to do all of these things and do it even better. So now you have this kind of slicer, which if you take it here, you can select the duration, how long you want it from when you want it to start to where you want it to finish, or to start for the entire stretch of our data set. If you overrun it, you can see at this point how many incidents that will have and how many fatalities, how many people died and how many people were injured. So you can see stuff like this, for example. So you see how many people died or how many people were injured on this particular month. You can see that in March 2012, we had about 34 different incidents. And then 2 people died, 3 injuries. So these are very, very valuable information that we can get out of it. And then you might want to begin to say, like you said, summary. This gives you a good summary. Like in the whole stretch of our data, for the whole period we are studied, we've got 10 fatalities, 10 people died, 20 injuries, the cause, all of these things will do it better. So don't you worry. Okay, now this is filter. If you want to see only stuff that are caused by corrosion, so you can say, I want to see for only corrosion, it will filter everything. So all of the incidents caused by corrosion, nobody actually died. There was no injury for all the ones caused by corrosion. Incorrect operations, you can see there are lots of injuries. So now you begin to know that maybe you need to train your workers to be able to do stuff better. You know what I mean? Based on the fact that incorrect operations. So this is clearly human error, okay, has caused all of these injuries, but well, no fatality being caused from this. So I just wanted to run you through what some of these things mean. Location, so you can start looking at the locations where these things actually happened, you know. So in the US, so this one shows where there's a lot more 106 happened around this area in the United States. So these are the different counties, and as I said, these are the different causes, like which one caused a lot. So material welding seems to have caused more than 50%. This gives you clear information as a company and say we need to improve either our equipment, maybe checking our equipment or welding of the materials that we're using, because more than half of these incidents have been caused by material, weld, and equipment issues. So these are very, very valuable insight that we're getting out of this quickly. Operators, you can see which operators are actually giving us problem. Okay, so you can see, is it Chevron, is it ExxonMobil, or who? You can see all of those things. And then you can start to look at how much we're spending, how much that was lost, and all of those beautiful stuff that we can see. These whole things I've given you, it's just a flavor. We're going to do everything ourselves tonight as we crack on. So this is plain and simple Power BI. So now I'm going to start step by step. And as I progress step by step, if you have any question, you can feel free to unmute yourself. You can feel free to drop it as a message in the chat. Then I'll try my best to look in the chat and to be able to respond to you. First things first. I said we have these tabs, we have these ribbons, we have all of these views, we have all of these panels, and then we have these pages, okay? So this first page, I'm going to put it into different pages as we progress. Now we want to bring in the data into Power BI. This is just completely clean and plain canvas. The first thing that you do is to get your data. You can get data through lots of sources. You can get important Excel workbook, Power BI semantic model that has been built by somebody else and you're working on with it, data flows, Dataverse, SQL server, wherever, you know. Now I'm going to get a CSV, and this CSV is coming from this folder, masterclass, and I call it pipeline dataset. So this is what I'm going to bring in. So it's going to try to fetch that data. And when it comes, it gives me the option to load it straight into Power BI or to go and do what we call transformation. So when you get in your data sets, typically your data set is not going to be like clean and fully ready. So you need to do some cleaning of the data set, do some transformation of the data set. And that is what we want to do in Power Query. So Power Query Editor, that's where we're going right now. So I'm not going to load it into Power BI. First of all, I'm going to transform data. So as soon as I click transform data, it opens a completely new, different window. And this window is the Power Query Editor. So the Power Query Editor is where I can do some reworking of the data. If it's not very, very clean, I can choose the different columns that I want, the ones I don't need. So based upon the analysis I want to perform tonight, we have lots of columns. You can see 48 different columns. I hope you can see this bottom left here. So 48 different columns is what we've got, but I don't need all of these columns. So I want to remove some columns based upon what we want to do. So my first thing first I want to do is I'm going to say choose column. Like I don't need all of the columns, because if I carry all of the columns to Power BI, it's going to make it heavy, and because some of them will be useless, I don't need them. So I'm like, I don't need everything. So I will uncheck this, and then I'll check all the ones that I think I need. Okay, so I can keep this report number if I think I will need it. I probably wouldn't, but let me just keep it. Accident here, I don't need accidents here because I'm more interested in the date, because we're going to plot a graph and the graph is going to be probably by month. So I'm going to leave accident here out of it. Operator ID. It all depends on what you want to do. But this is me thinking I wouldn't need operator ID, but I need operator name because I want to know which of the operator, is it ExxonMobil, is it Shell, is it Total, where we're getting all of these issues, and the pipeline facility name. Now, the pipeline facility name is a very, very niche information, so we don't need it for the purpose of this analysis. I don't want to go very, very deep. But if I were working with Chevron, I'll be more interested with all the pipeline facility name that connects to Chevron. But right now, I'm going to keep it at the level of just the operator. But if somebody feels otherwise, feel free to just drop a message or tell me, hey, Angon Yakubu, let's retain this, let's retain that. 100% happy to retain any column. But based upon what I want to do tonight very quickly, there are some I feel we don't need. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. But if you think we should keep it, you can drop it or we can talk about it and then we'll keep it. So we're keeping the pipeline, okay, operator name, pipeline facility name. I don't really think we need that. Pipeline location, I don't think we need that because, and I'll show you why I'm saying all of these things I'm saying. Because this is pipeline facility name. This operator name, let me cancel this thing for a minute while I tell you why I'm selecting it that way, because this is the right thing to do. If you look at the operator name, now this gives me the list of operators. Okay, so I'm going to keep the operator name, but I say this pipeline facility name, I don't really need it, you see? So this is like telling you, is the 9-inch there? Is it 14-inch there? I don't need this level of information, okay? And there are very many, so I don't even need this level of information. That's why I say I'm not going to keep it. Now, location, I'm going to keep it so we can know if it is offshore or it is onshore. Then pipeline type, I think we can keep this one for us to be able to say, yes, this pipeline is the one that is above ground or is the one that is underground or is the tank or stuff like that. So we're going to keep this one. Not a problem to keep that as well. Now let's keep profiling this data set and then I'm going to like liquid type. I'm not going to keep this one because yeah, it's going to be saying, is it crude oil? What kind of oil is it? It's too detailed an information for me for the purpose of this analysis, okay? So yeah, HVL or other flammable toxic crude oil, all of them is oil for the purpose of tonight's analysis. So I'm not going to keep liquid type. Now, liquid subtype, is it diesel, is it fuel, kerosene or jet fuel, or HVL or gasoline, non-ethanol, LPG, liquefied petroleum gas, all these very, very detailed information. For the purpose of the analysis, we're not going to keep all of that, okay? Liquid name, ethane, butane, propylene. We don't need all of these things. We're not doing organic chemistry tonight. Now, the city, yeah, we might as well keep the city, the county, the state where it has happened, the latitude, the longitude, and stuff like that. Now, if you come here, yes, it's good for us to know the category, okay? But the subcategory might not be too important, you see? Because this one is now saying natural force damage, temperature. Well, internal, these are too detailed and information for us to keep. So this is a standard thing you do. You keep looking through. You need to have an understanding of the data for you to know what you're keeping and what you're not keeping. Now, this is unintentional release in barrels. So this is the oil now, the crude that is released into the environment. You know, this is what we call oil spill right now. This is the volume in barrels of oil that is spilled into our environment unintentionally. Now, this is intentional release. So it's possible that for the purpose of the operation, this is not really an accident, it's an intentional release of this amount of oil into the environment. Now, did we manage to recover? So there could be a recovery team that come and try to do some remediation and recovery on site. Did we manage to recover anything? And this is the net loss. So the net loss right now, of course, you know, it is the amount released minus what you recovered, and that will give you the net loss, okay? So this unintentional is not factored into that calculation. A very typical example is this. Look at this row. For row 7, this is 35 barrels, okay? Now, they were able to recover 30 barrels. So the net amount of barrels that they are losing is actually 5 barrels. So that's just what those 3 columns means. For me, for the purpose of tonight, I'm going to keep only net loss. I won't keep unintentional or intentional or the recovery or whatever. I'll keep only this one, okay? Now, was there a fire? Liquid ignition, liquid explosion. So all of these are also very important stuff, but I'm not too interested for the purpose of this work. So there are some where, yes, there was ignition, there was explosion. There were some that there was explosion actually, but I don't want to go into that detail. Was there a shutdown of the pipeline? When did they shut it down? When did they restart the pipeline? Public evacuations, operator, contractor injuries. So the amount of people that are injured, injuries, emergency responder that came, are they injured? Other people that were there, were they injured? Public injuries that occurred because of this incident. Then we have the total amount of injuries. Now, this is all injuries. Now you understand with me that is a summation of both operator, contractor, public, everybody summed together, how many injuries occurred on site. What I'm going to keep tonight is all injuries. I don't want to go into analyzing the specifics of whether or not the operators were injured or the contractor or the public. If you think otherwise, that's absolutely fantastic. You can analyze that level of granular information. I'm just saying for the purpose of tonight's demo. Fatality means people that died, okay? So operator employee fatalities, operator contractor fatalities, emergency responder fatalities, other fatalities. So this is the people that passed on because of this incident, quite sadly, public as well. And this is the total. Okay, I'm going to keep the total as well. I won't look whether it's an operator or contractor or the public or whatever. Now, property damage, you know what happens? There's an OSP, there's loss of property damage. What's the cost for the public property damage? The amount here is not very clear. I'm going to assume it's in maybe thousands or millions of dollars. So that's supposed to be a unit here and say property damage maybe in thousands or millions of dollars. So this is 110. So I believe that 110 is like maybe $110 million. I'm not sure. So the data set didn't tell me. So, but this is the property damage, loss, community, the costs, public and emergency responder costs, environmental, other costs, and all costs, which obviously is going to be summation of all the different costs. This is the quantifying amount of money that was lost due to this incident. So I'm going to be keeping only the all. So this just gives you a quick rundown of what we want to do. And now we're choosing the column. So I believe you understand what I've said and why we're doing it that way. So I'm going to very, very quickly tick the ones that I feel we need as we progress right now. So it's going to be pipeline location and pipeline type. That's all I need there. And then I'm going to go accident city, accident county, accident state, accident longitude, latitude, the cause. And then I'll forget about the sub cause. The amount that was released, I said we're taking only the net loss. So that's the amount that was released into the environment in barrels. I'm not interested in all of this shutdown or whatever. So now we have all of the injuries that happened. So I'm going to take all the injuries that happened. Now the fatalities, now I'll take all as well. And the property damage, I'm thinking now, should I split? I can decide to split it. I can decide to leave it. So now I've done for injury. I didn't take all the other injuries. I've done for fatalities. I didn't take all the other ones. For the purpose of it, why don't I just take these other ones now? So it's not like I'm running away from all of the columns. So let's keep this, let's keep all these other categories. If not, I would have just taken all costs because all costs kind of aggregates everything here. And then I'll say, okay, so from my 48 columns, now I have 21 columns. As you can see, 21 columns right now. Good. So we're getting somewhere. The next thing I want to do in Power Query Editor is to make sure that all of my columns, they are in the correct data type. Very important that you do this. So this, for example, now is showing like it is numeric. It doesn't really matter because this is not supposed to be numeric because this is an ID, report number. So when you see 1, 2, 3, it shows that it's going to come in as a number where you can perform mathematical operations on. You can aggregate them, but that is not the purpose of what we're doing here. Okay, it's like matriculation number. My matriculation number in the university might be 5825. Your own is 3125. It's a number, but it's not really a number for the purpose of what we're doing because it's just an identifier. Okay, it's not something we want to add or subtract. So I always like to put this, my IDs, as a test. And it's going to indent to the left. I always like it this way, okay? So this clearly sees it in the right way, that it is date time, which is correct. Now this is test, which is A, B, C, which is correct. Test as well. All of these ones are test, which is very correct. Latitude and longitude as well. And all of these other ones, seeing it as numbers, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. This is because it's decimal. So everything here looks good, which is fine. That's what we want to happen. I won't say too much with Power Query Editor right now. I'll go to Power BI. But just to let you know about all the queries, so this is the query settings. Right now, we can change the name of this query, and every step, everything that I've done tonight is going to come in here as what we call applied steps. So you can, if I just cancel this, it will go back to what it was. It's as good as saying undo. If I was working in Microsoft, I'm going to always use the word undo, undo, undo. So this is to undo. So if I click this now, it's going to undo that step and it will go back to what it was before. So that's just what it means. Other things you can do, you can actually change the column header. So if I want to change this just to be fatalities, so it's just going to be fatalities, and rename column is going to come here. Now, if I come here as well, double click, and you can change this one to injuries. And then it's going to come here as a step so that you understand everything that we're doing. So this is Power Query Editor. What have we done today? We've been able to select columns. We've been able to apply some steps to it. There's a lot more we can do. We can actually say we want to see the time where these things happen. If you come here now, click on this. Okay? When you click on this and you say you want to see only the time where it happened, you can extract it from this column. I'm going to come here and say add. And then I'll say time. And then I'll say show me the time only. And it will give me the time only. So you see all of these nice stuff you can do from Power Query Editor. So I've created a new column now, which is saying time. The same way you can create another column, it will give you only the year. You can create another column to give you only the month or whatever you want it to be. So you can do lots of other transformation of this very big table whilst you're in Power Query Editor. Now this editor is using a programming language called the M language. But for tonight's work, we're not wondering ourselves about the language. That's not what we're looking at. But just for you to know, now everything that we have done tonight is going to write it as a code. All the steps that I've done is this. So I can copy this code right now that you see and actually use it. I can actually use this code in a cell and it would work. Okay, I can use this in a cell and it will work because that's exactly what this M language means. So everything that I've done today, if I change this one now, you can see all fatalities has changed to fatalities. Everything here. So you don't need to write the code. It helps you to write the code. I'm just going to cancel this. I only wanted to show it to you. And then I'll come home and I'll say close and apply. So when I close and apply, all the changes that I have applied there, the number of columns I want to see, the headers have changed, everything is all going to appear. And how do I know that? That's what I have here as data. If you look here, you see data, and then I come here now, the fatalities, I change it to from all, I remove the all here. You can see injuries, I remove the all. And this all is being arranged in alphabetical order. As you can see, please show how you generated the code. Now, the way I generated the code is this. For me to go back to Power Query Editor, whenever you're already in Power BI and you want to go back to Power Query Editor, just come here, say transform data. It takes you back there. Okay? Now, after you've applied multiple different steps, no matter all the steps you've applied, just go to View and say Advanced Editor. Click on Advanced Editor. You will see a code that captures everything you've done so far. And this actually works. If I copy this thing and take it to the same data set in a cell, I can actually run it in a cell on that same data set, and it will apply every steps that I've done here. It's all going to work for me if I apply it in a cell. So it works very well. So you're welcome. So let's close. Let's go back now to where we were. Now we want to start. Okay, I was trying to explain some things to you about the whole place, the way it looks. Look at this data now. These are all the different columns that we have brought in. Okay, it's just only one table. In more detailed analysis, we'll be doing what we call data modeling, where we're going to be having data sets from different tables that are going to be communicating with what we call primary key and foreign key. In that instance, we're going to be having this data model. This view is going to be a data model view where there will be another table here communicating with this table, another one here communicating with this. They're all going to be connected with the unique identifier we call primary key and foreign key, okay? Using our star schema that we use most of the time. But for tonight, we're not doing data modeling. We're using that very white table. Now, this is DAX. DAX is data analysis expression. For some advanced analysis, you would want to write some code to be able to do some stuff. So DAX is another thing again to know, but we're not going in that direction right now. This is the table that we have. And when you look at this table, you will see this is exactly what we looked at in Power Query Editor. And now we're going to to analyze, to get visualization out of this table. Now let's go to our visualization view. Report view now. This is where it's all going to start. So let's get cracking now. Whenever I want to start doing stuffs, one thing I like to do is within this my real estate area, this my canvas area, I like to put a little bit of a design, a tiny little bit of a design in my work. Okay. So I kind of like to put a design to it, and I'm also going to have different pages, like there'll be page 1, there'll be page 2 and stuff like that. So let me start with my design first of all. I'm going to insert. If you come here to insert, like you would do in Microsoft, any of their system, come here to test, and let's call it any name, okay? I can say, incidence analysis. Okay, so this is just going to be a big name I want it to be here. I could make it bold, try to change the font if I like that. I'm not sure. Make it 40 if I want it so. And then drag this thing in this way and look at it and just see if I kind of like it, So let's keep it like this for now. If we don't like it, we can continue making any adjustment that we might want to make. You want to bring in the logo because you're working for an organization. They have their logo. You want their logo to reflect. What do you do? Still here, you are going to bring it, okay? So I can say image now. So now see again, I start, it's insert. That's where I've been. So I say I want to insert an image. And the image comes from where it's going to come from, wherever it is. So Navis logo, I'm going to bring in this logo. And this logo is going to stay somewhere, anywhere you want it to be. The call is yours. So let's keep all of these things like this for now. Every other thing not looking right. We're going to make everything look right. I like to get an idea of a design, So the next thing I like to do is I could get like what we call page navigation because I know that I'm going to have different pages and I've created a different page. I could come here again and then I'll say buttons. If you look at buttons, you come to navigation and then I'll say page navigation. So it's a way to navigate the pages. So what it means is this. Instead of coming here to click, you can come here. This is page 3. Control, click on page 2. It will move to page 2. So if I come back here now, control page 1, it will move to page 1. So essentially, I started my work on page 3. Most of the time, I will start on page 1, but let's just leave it at this. You will see how it's all going to come through. Now, let's make this thing look more presentable. Let's make it look more presentable. What do? We're going to format it. So in any visual I'm going to bring on board tonight, there's going to be this paint brush. So this paint brush is for me to be able to do some sort of formatting, okay? So the first thing I would like to do is, I don't like it staying horizontal. I like it being vertical. So that's the first thing I like to do, vertical, okay? So it's going to be vertical right now. Watch what I did. Click on this pen brush, more options. It's going to have this format navigator panel here. Now, when you have this panel, there's a lot you can do, which I'm not going to go into tonight, but there's a lot you can do, okay? I could put a title here, and then you can give it a title, any title you might want it to be. I can say, analysis section or whatever, anything I want to call it, or analysis type or scope. It all depends on how you've done your work and how you want it to be. So that your user knows, if you click on this, it will take you to this sort of analysis, or you click on that, and you keep formatting it the way you might want. But let me just keep it simple like this. And then I'm going to drag this thing down here. So I could leave this thing for now, okay? So this is not enough. I'm going to now try to bring in like a shape now with a color. Let me come here and take this rectangle. I'm going to take this rectangle to cover it. So watch what I'm doing right now. And this one, let me just put it here. And then this one covers this. So you will notice that this my stuff right now, it needs to go to the back. So the way to take it to the back, if I come to view, for example, I can take it to where I want it to be. So right now you can see format, sorry. So view also has what I'm looking for, but I would rather go to format. So in format, you can take this thing to the back, but I won't take it to the back. I will use selection so that I can order it. So I can order everything right now. So when I say selection now, what it means is this shape now. So this shape, let me reshape it. Let me rename it. This is my rectangle. So this is my rectangle. How did I spell rectangle again? Now this rectangle, this analysis scope, yeah, that's fine. I can write this thing where analysis scope. Now this image is actually our logo. And then this is our test box. So you're going to see what I want to do right now. This header. So what I want to go under, the bottom should not be this header. The bottom should actually be this rectangle. So because I've got different layout stuff, that's why I'm doing it this way. So that rectangle, I say go down. So you can see what has happened right now. Okay, so from the rectangle, we can have this, our header right now. So which this one is of course not interfering with this. So it's not a problem per se. Then this logo, you can see our logo here, and then analysis scope, which is this. So if it looks good right now in your eyes, then we're going to leave this part. I would like to put something that looks like a line. I'm going to do here again, and then I'll say bring in this shape. I just like this line. Not anything per se, but I just like it. Kind of makes it look a little bit nice in the eyes. Okay, good. If everybody's happy, then I'm happy. Let's forget about too many stuff there. So let's leave it like this for now. Whenever you're building an interactive visualization, you need to consider the fact that this is not going to be still. People using it should be able to click on buttons, zoom in, zoom out, filter stuff. So I always like to give my users that opportunity to see what they want to see. Okay? So for doing that, I'm going to bring in some slicers first of all. I like the date slicer as one of my key ones. So when you click on this, and I will go back again. Let me cancel this thing, delete. If you go to all your visualizations now, you see this, what looks like a funnel. It's called a slicer. So when I bring in this slicer, it's going to say add data. It means, what do I want this slicer to be able to control? I say control the accident date and time. And then I can reshape it the way I would want it to be. So I've got something like this right now. So what this will do is any chart, any visualization that we're going to have here tonight is going to be able to filter this thing according to the time that you put here, okay? If you want to, you can actually start doing lots of formatting trying to make this thing look good or look better the way you would want it. But for the purpose of what we're doing tonight, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm not going to bother myself to begin to do any stuff right now. So let's leave it as it is. Let's pretend like it's all looking good, but you can adjust it as you can see here. You can change, remove background, put background. You can give it a shadow if you like it. If you don't like it, forget about it. So this is the first one right now. Okay, good. Because we're trying to slice the data set, there will be many other things that we might want to use to slice this data set as we progress. But we'll be getting into that one after the other. You know what I'm going to do next? I think it was Steven that gave us an idea. Steven said that we want to see like a summary. So for us to design a summary, there's a very, very good way to get a summary of data. So when you have a data set right now, and there's lots of numeric data like this, let's come back to this data right now. You would see everyone that has got this sign now, this sigma sign, in statistics, we call it summation from what we all did in secondary school. All of those ones are stuff that you can aggregate. You can perform mathematical operations on all of those stuffs, yeah? So we want to get like a summary, like a very, very high level of what has happened. Now, I'm going to tell you what I would be interested in, but you can tell me something else. I'll be interested in knowing what is the total amount of fatalities? What's the total amount of injuries? Maybe what's the total amount of loss, like how many barrels of oil was lost, or any other thing. So if anybody thinks of something, drop it in the chat. Let's see what is the total amount for whatever that you think. But I've just told you my own thinking. So now let's go. Come here again and look at these visuals. If you come here and you see this gauge, card, and KPI that you have in Power BI, this one is the old one, and we have this new one with this thunder sign. This one is very, very great because you can have a good number of them together. So that's why this one is really great. So let's take this one with thunder sign right now. It's going to ask me, like, what do I want to see, you know? So I'm going to be like, yeah, I want to see this. So number one, I want to see, for example, as I said to you a while ago, let's see how many injuries that we've had. So I'm going to see how many injuries. And then I'm going to see how many fatalities that we've had. Maybe, yes, how much barrels of oil that we've lost. I could see only those three, except somebody has got any other thing you feel would be of interest. Or maybe the total amount that we've lost or something like that. Okay? Can I keep it simple like this, everybody? So it would be good if you communicate. Sometimes I just want a communication from you. Just try your best to respond, maybe with a smiley or whatever. So I can keep it this way down. Just bring it here. And then give it some good styling, you know, give it some styling. Okay. Notice one thing, that there are four. So I need to scroll down to see the fourth one. But I'm going to try to change some of these things quickly. So let's go to formatting. Everything or almost everything that we do, we want to try to give it a good formatting. So just this pen brush always for formatting. So let's try to format this thing. Where do we start from right now? Should I start from size? Yes, most of the time I just drag it. But the right thing to do is to know the size for what you're doing. Padding is you're moving it sideways, up, down. I don't use too much of padding. Do you want to give it a background? Background is on. What background do you want to give it? It all depends on what you're trying to do. Are you interested in this background? Or believe you me, I don't even need any background. No background. Visual border. Would you be interested in this or not? Would you be interested in some shadow or not? Okay. I'm not interested in the title. Title is off. Layout. So this is where we now start working. I want it to be in a single row. Now it's showing me two rows. Okay. So because I want it to be in a single row, I'm going to do something. Yes. Okay. Ogeshi. Thanks for that. Appreciate. Lovely. So because I want it in a single row right now, I'm going to like maximum cards to show. Instead of 3, show 4. So now it's showing 4 different cards. Okay. So now this is how we progress with what we're doing. Okay. So I can start doing lots more stuff. Let's look at the call out, the different stuff that are there. They are not looking very, very great. It's not looking very, very great. Let's try to change the sizing. So from 45, let's make it 30 and see how it looks. Yeah, this kind of looks okay in my eyes, maybe. Yeah, I think this 30 looks okay. We can try 25. Now notice one thing. In this series, I selected all. If, however, I want to edit it one after the other, you are going to choose which one you want to edit. So that's how it works. Now I can make everything like black. I think it's black color. So yeah, black is black. Yeah. So that's fine. And it's going to indent to the left. Now there's another thing that we want to do. I don't like it saying sum of. I kind of don't really like it that way. So I might just want to like just give it to me injuries. So total number of injuries. I want you to just give me like total number of injuries, you know? One thing I realize is you need to double click on it for it to respond, okay? So that's one thing I've seen. I don't know why they made it that way. Before it used to be different. So if I double click on this thing, I should be able to change this. No, let's go this way. Now look here, everybody. So when I click on this visual, what I want to do is to change the name. I don't want it showing some. Come here and click on this data where you got it from, and then double click the title here. You're going to see the cursor moving, and then you can change it to just injuries. Now, there might be another name you want to give to it, maybe total number of injuries or amount of injuries. You can obviously do that. And then I can now say this is my net loss. So this is my net loss in barrels. And then I can call this costs. So I can say the cost is this one. So let me see. And then I'll call this thing in dollars. So you see, these are ways you go editing stuff the way you want it to be. Now, as if this is not enough, we can continue doing more stuff. We can continue doing more stuff to it. So what else would you like to do? The header, for example, now you might want to also make it black. You might also want to make this one black, and the positioning is fine and everything looks good. There's another thing I want to do. I like to bring in image for each of them. So I'm going to come to image. Everybody go to image, and not series this time. I'm going to say injuries, just for injuries right now. Turn on the image, and image is what I want. I will say browse for image. So I've saved some image already, which I want to use. So some image that looks like what I'm trying to talk about. So this is injuries. Which one looks like injury, by the way? This one is injury. This one looks like injury. So there's a website where you can get this thing actually. So I'll talk about that in a minute. So you can see how it's looking. It's not really looking great because it's so big. So let's try to reduce it. So when we try to reduce this thing, you know, let's reduce this thing, 10 and see, 100 and see what we'll have, 25 and see what we'll have, 50 and see what we've got. So this tells you that we've got this amount of injury. So the same thing we've done now, and this is 50. Let's take note of the size that we've given to it. So I can do the same thing very, very quickly without wasting time. I go to fatalities, and then I turn it on, and I'm like, okay, browse for the image for fatalities. This is death certificate. This might be a good one. And then instead of it being auto, I'm going to say 50, and that's for that. And then very quickly, I go to the net loss. I'm going to turn on image, and then I'm going to browse. I did not get anyone. I could have got that as well, but I'll get barrel sign. The right thing for that is barrel sign, okay? I'm going to come here and pretend as if that is barrel sign. Just in your eyes, just imagine that that is barrel. So, and then I'm going to say 50. So that is barrel. So let's not look at it too critically. And then this other one, what have we got here, by the way? So we've got cost. So this should be money. So if I turn this on and then browse, assume this is money, everybody. This is money. So this is dollar sign. So I'm going to import this one as dollar sign, but I can get some more anyways. Before we go, I'll do that. So if I say 50, for example, so that's dollar sign now, okay? So this one is not showing me what I want. I don't like that sum, as I've always said. So this is the cost. And it's actually loss. Yeah, so this might be a better representation of what we've got. Now, if this is looking good, we're like, okay, we're getting there gradually. If you want to continue formatting this thing, you can, honestly, there's a lot you can do, but believe me, that's not the most important bit right now. So I'm going to leave it like this. You know, one thing else I like to do, when I have this kind of eye level, and then I think I'm in a good position right now, I like to repeat some things across. So I'm going to duplicate this one now. I'm going to duplicate this, my format, duplicate this thing. And then I'm going to duplicate it again. Notice how all of these pages are also changing. I'm going to, yes, let's leave it at that. Let me take this one out. Delete this as well. And let's keep it at this, and let's start some analysis. Let's just start getting some visuals together. Number one, let's try to look at trend line. We want to see what has happened. The count, we want to count how many pipeline incidents has happened from 2010 to 2017 in our analysis tonight. And this is what I'm going to do. Trend line is always a good one for that. On the horizontal axis is going to be this incident, okay? So this is what I'm going to have in my horizontal axis. Because the level of granularity I don't want it to be day. So let me take day out of it and keep it at month, okay? Now the y-axis is going to count. It's going to be a count. So, and how to know how many count is the number of reports per day. So I can come here and it will count it for me. So it's going to count it for me. It's going to be a count, yeah? So let's see. 1 minute, let me do something. Yeah. So remove this. Okay, put this. I'm just taking something, so don't worry about that. So now let's look at this. Now we've got this kind of stuff that's just showing this, but I want this to give me a lot more information. Let me remove this quarter and see what I get. So actually, this is not giving me the way I want it to show. So I want it to show like more. There's a lot more evidence, yes, because this is just giving me 2010 and it's not giving me the month information, and it has gone to 2011, 2012. So we want this thing to be able to go to month, okay? So on this vertical axis, we clearly have a count of the report number. Now, but this one now is showing, why is it showing like this? Let me see. I'm going to remove this completely now, and then I'm going to bring it back again. So this is what I've got. But what I said is that we don't want day. We don't want it to be too granular. We don't want it day because you can see how it's all scattered. You can see how it's just it's too busy, basically. That's what I'm trying to say there. So usually if I remove this day, it should behave itself. So this is what I'm trying to say to you guys. So now you have a clear visualization that gives you an idea of what has been happening. Without me going quickly into the design, let's just try this stuff now. You're going to see how it will tell you how many people have been injured between one time or the other. Like if I slice this thing and say, I want to see from 20, I want to just see only 2015 or something like that, okay? You can do lots of things any way you want it. You can see from January 2015 or whatever, and all of those things, or you can drag it this way and say you want to see from this. Notice all of these numbers changing. Notice how this is equally changing. So this is what we call an interactive visualization. So what it means is when I design this visual and then I share it with my team or my line manager, and my line manager want to see what has happened only 2015 to 2017, or want to see what has happened from 2012, or want to see what has happened for only that year maybe. So they can filter this thing and know what has happened. So that's what I want you to know. But let's come and do some edits here. I always like to show to you how you need to edit your chart. Don't just leave it as it is. So if there's anything you want to change, number one, this, I don't really need this here, to be honest, because what exactly is the point? We all know it is here. So there's no point telling me it is here when I know it is here. So the first thing there is that this title needs to go away. Okay? Because it is here. 2010 to 2017 is here. We all know it is here. So let that here go away. And what I want to go away didn't go. The year didn't even go. So let's go back again. So I'm going to format all of these things. So let's go and format this thing. So what did I do there? I was looking at the y-axis. Oh, it is y I took off. Sorry, guys. I was supposed to take off x. So it's x I was supposed to take off, yeah? So x is gone. What is happening right now? X is what I want to take away. Title for X should go away. Leave the value. And the range starts from auto from the way it is. This is fine for the X-axis. Now in my Y-axis, my title should be on. I can leave my title on for Y-axis. Now, even though the title is on, I can do some changes. I can make it black if I want, like make the thing exactly black. But count of report number, okay? I can change this thing actually and call it number of incidents. So this is how you can obviously change the stuffs. You can make it bigger if you choose to. So whoever is looking at my stuff will know exactly what this visualization is showing you. So you can see how many pipeline incidents has happened within this particular time, yeah? So for this title as well, it's always good to keep a title, but I don't need their own title. I always double click and then I'll put my own title. And I'm going to call it number of pipeline incidents over time. Okay. If I so desire, I can come and maybe clean this one a lot more, okay? But let's keep it simple for now. Now I have got this, which is good, which is good, which is good. See, guys, I want to include another thing. I want you, this stuff, not to only tell us how many incidents happened every month. I want you to be able to tell us, not only am I telling you the incident, I'm going to be able to tell you, or the visualization to show how many fatalities did we have, and then how many injuries, obviously. Okay, so now let's add something to this. When you come here and then you look at what you've done in your plot, you can see what your y-axis is showing. I'm going to do a secondary axis. Now, the secondary y-axis is going to be this side. When do you do secondary y-axis? I could put everything in primary, but because the numbers are very, very small, like this, I'll show you. If I come here and I want to show fatalities now, if I say fatalities, because they are very, very small, you're not seeing any major thing happening. So I'm going to take this away from here, and then I'll put it in secondary axis. Injuries and then fatalities as well. So what this shows us right now is, it's showing us how many of these things happen, okay? The way the stuff is, I'm going to format it. I'm going to clean it. If you follow me one step at a time, we're going to make it look a lot better. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I could leave it like this anyways. I can reduce this and just make this 10. I like this to be 10 maybe. So I like this to be 10. So like if I want to make that, this is secondary axis. What is the range? Take note of what I'm doing. This is secondary axis. Instead of the range being automatic, I'm going to just say make it 10. So 10. Now the next thing I want to do is this. Those lines, I need to do some cleaning. I need to do some cleaning exercises to those lines, okay? So now let's go and do some cleaning exercises to those lines. Let's come to line right now. So which of the line are you talking about? It's not this one. I'm going to do for these two. So let's start with injuries. Injuries. So I want to look at injuries now. Solid line. Okay, but this is not really my main stuff that I want to see right now because I need to see my marker. The marker is of more importance to me right now for what I want to do. So I'm going to come to marker and I'll say turn on the marker. Okay, so this marker that I turned on right now, is because there's all series here. I'm going to say, no, not all series, only this one. So for all the series, okay, turn off the marker. But for injuries, turn on the marker. So that's what I want to do, okay? So, and when I turn on the marker, so let me turn off marker again. Turn off markers, okay? Now the marker is turned off. What I'm going to do is this. Guys, listen to me. I don't want the marker to be in the one for the number of incidents. I want the marker to be for the fatalities as well as the injuries. And I'll tell you why in a minute. So if you follow me now. So let's say marker is on. Yes, injuries. So for injuries right now is on. So leave the shape as it is. We can keep this shape. We can make it big. Now it's big now, and then we come to color. We can say amber. I would rather use amber so that it shows that there was almost something happening. And then for the fatalities, I'm going to use red. So this is amber right now. So this is amber. Now for the lines there, watch what I'm going to do with the lines now. This, for solid line, this is what? Sum of injuries, okay? Now, solid line here, okay? I'm going to make it transparent. And by making it transparent now, I'm not going to see any line showing like this. So what I've been able to achieve is, you see that line is like a distraction, okay? It's showing a trend line that is going up or coming down, but I don't really need that. I don't need that level of distraction. So that's why I see transparency 100%, okay? And this marker color is not even looking great. I could use another color right now. It's not looking great, to be honest. But I don't want to use red. Okay, this one looks better. It looks like orange. So this looks better. Now we're going to do the same thing for fatalities. I'm going to make this one 6. And then I'm going to change this one to real red, like this end of it. And then I'm going to come and say your own line as well. Your own line as well. The line for fatalities. The line for fatalities. I'm going to say make it transparent. But the colors are very, 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 very looking the same. So I need to change the color for... Somebody help me with color. Can anybody just tell me something about colors, please? Let me change the color for injury. Injury markers should be... Okay, I know what to do. No, fatalities marker now. I'm going to change fatality to black. I'm going to change this one to black. Yep. I'm going to change this to black. Does this look good in the eye? Somebody advise me. Does it look good? Does it look okay to you? Somebody just unmute yourself or say something, please. Yes, thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Stephen. Yes. So I need some of all those comments so that I know that you're with me. So now let's look at this first visualization that we've done. And if we need to adjust something, we're going to adjust it together. So when you overround these things, yeah, you can see how many report of injuries here in Q1 of 2013, in the month of January, 47. But there was no injury, no, nothing, that's fine. But if you come here now, in the month of February, you can see the sum of injuries, 1. Now, in the month of March, you can see 1 person died, quite sadly. Now, if you come at this point, you can see here that 33 cases were reported. The number of injuries, 5 injuries, and 3 persons died, unfortunately, in October 2016. So this gives you a flavor of what we're trying to do, the kind of summary you can get straight up from looking at it. Now, this is the very first page, okay? I want to bring in a little bit sense of AI into what we're doing. And the AI feature is that this stuff is going to be able to like explain what is here. So if you come here now, in your Power BI, come here to the visualizations, come here to AI visuals, and select narrative, guys. Select narratives. So if you click on narrative, Okay, custom. Now, this Power BI has got the AI feature that understands what is seen, and then it will be able to give you some context to this thing. So that's exactly what we have here. So you can read what is here now, guys, and you see what it means. So if you want to format the text, you can format the text. But what does this cover? So immediately somebody picks up my work and looks at it. I've given you an explanation that between 2010 and 2017, the sum of injuries had the largest increase. And Y count of the report of number of injuries, which is sum of injuries now, had the largest decrease between these. You can see the decline and everything that happened. Okay. But you probably want to see what happened between a particular time. Watch how the narrative will also adjust itself. So the narrative will also adjust itself and say the number of reported cases started trending down from April 2013. So this is April 2013. Yeah, this is it. From here, it started coming down from April 20. This is January. And where is April again? So this is February. Yeah, so this is down now. This is what month is this? This is March. And what month is this right now? This is April 2013. It actually got to May before it started trending down, falling by this in 4 months. Some of fatalities dropped from 2 to 1 during this steepest curve, which is this steep, because this is where it got the lowest. So every other time it was still having this number. But at this point, I think they've succeeded in killing the problem, causing wahala. So you can filter this thing the way you want it with this slicer, and it can give you what you want to see. So I'm going to call this page right now, I'll call it high level trend. So this is the first thing I'm going to do. Okay, so this is high level trend right now. The next thing is, let's pick up another idea of analysis. Let's look at something different. We've seen trend now, which is good. Let's pick up another sort of analysis to look at something a little bit different from just the trend right now. So that's the idea we're going to go right now. Let's study the different, what's it called? The operators. So we can study the operators right now. Let's come here and let this one be the operators. Now, for the operator performance right now, we want to look at them. How have they been? What have they been doing? Which one doing well? Which one not doing well? So this stuff that I have here now, if you want to go to operator performance, just control click this. It will take you to operator performance. So this is what we'll have here. So now let's study our operators now. The question you'll be asking is this. Whatever you're doing, despite the fact that I've got these things duplicated now, I've got all of these things. If you don't want it for the purpose of this page, you can actually take it off if you don't want it for the purpose of this page. Because I'm thinking I might not really need it. So if I don't need it, I can actually remove it, okay? So let me remove all of this thing because I feel it's not of value for the analysis I want to do on this page. Can I make this thing smaller to take less space for me? Because I need all the space for this one in my brain. I'll look at this later, but let me just even remove it first of all. Now, guys, let's go. I want to see like a bar chart that shows me all of the different operators and the number of maybe incidents that they've got, and the number of fatalities. I have different options to do that. So now let's go. Let's try this. I've got this. And then because this is this stuff now, let this one be the operator name. So all the different operators. And then we can see in this axis how many injuries they had. Okay, good. So let's make this thing big and just let's see for ourselves. So you can clearly see how many injuries coming from these different operators now. So this is what we've got. So this guy seems to really be ExxonMobil, this Colonial Pipeline or whatever the name is. Colonial Pipeline seems to be giving us the highest number here. So I could make this thing small. Let me make this thing small. Another way you could visualize this. Now, I want you guys to give me a response. Choose for me. A part of me want to use this. Another part of me would like to use a tree map. Watch a tree map. And I want you to tell me which you would prefer. Tree. Tell me, choose one, bar or tree. Just give me a response. Bar or tree, guys? Somebody say bar. Okay. So should we go bar? Okay. So let's keep it at bar for that for now. So this is injuries. I'm going to copy this and then I'll paste it. Oh, sorry. You want to see it as bar. Okay. It was supposed to be bar. Let me go back again. I now make it bar. So I've got this now. So if I copy this thing, the reason why I'm copying it is because I'm just going to, no, this is not what I should do actually, but it's all right. There's a red line that comes when it gets to the middle. So I always use that red line to know the size of what I'm doing. Okay, so now we've got something like this. So, because you want to see in bars right now, guys. So give me this, give me everything. So this particular one now, if you click on this thing and come to this place, and instead of seeing injuries, I'm going to say, no, what I actually want to see is what? Fatalities. Fatalities is what I want to see. So I'm going to say for the values, give me what? Fatalities. And then make it a bar. So you can see the fatalities. But something else came to my mind. We can do like a clustered bar chart. Instead of this, why don't we do a clustered bar chart like this one now? Is this a clustered bar chart? No. This is my bar chart. Where is clustered? Yeah, this one is clustered bar chart. Okay. So let's have a clustered bar chart like this. And this is going to say, what do I have here right now? Is going to be the operators. And what I have here is going to be injuries and it's going to be fatalities. So this kind of covers the information that those two visuals are covering. So the idea is this, guys. This clustered bar chart is kind of showing you, yeah, so this guy, I've got to this total number of injuries and this number of fatalities, injuries, fatalities. So this one, all the injuries led to death straight up, quite sadly. Now, ConocoPhillips has got this number of injuries, but there's no fatalities. ExxonMobil has also got injuries and there's no fatalities. So it's kind of easier for us to visualize. So instead of me having these two separate stuff, I can clearly have only one that conveys the message for us to see. Does this make sense, guys? Hello? Does this make some sense, everybody?
Yes, it does.
Okay, cool. So we might want to see again, the spillage. Let's look at the spillage. What is happening here? I want to see spillage right now. These same guys, we want to see how they've caused lots of spill into the environment. So because I'm already using them, let me just, should I do it that way or I don't do it that way? Okay, let me create it from scratch. I come here now. I want to try a different kind of visualization. Let me try this one because I'm using every opportunity to try different visualization. So if I come here and then this one can come to this part of my page. This one comes here. So I'm going to say what I want to see right now in the horizontal axis. In the horizontal axis is going to be, yeah, let me put this time here. I'm going to put this time here. And then here, I'm going to put the amount of spillage that we've got, and that is net loss for the barrels. So net loss for the barrels. So this is more like the loss that we are having. So this is the loss that we're having right now. if we want to see this thing by operator, I feel this graph is going to be a little bit too busy. Yeah, I feel it's going to be too busy for us to see it that way. So that is the purpose why we usually would have slicers, okay? That's why we're going to have slicers. But I'll keep this visualization for a completely different one. So when I get there, I will explain this one. So let me delete this one. I'm going to use a bar, and then I'll be able to show you the different stuff. And what I want to show you right now is the loss that we've acquired. So this is the loss right now. Come here now and say, let this one be the operator name. And on this axis, let's have the net loss in barrels. So we've got something like this. So you would notice something, that there are very many, because the operators are more than this. The reason why we have only this amount of operators is because it is not all of the operators that have got injuries or fatalities. But in this case, all of the operators, or a good number of the operators, they've actually had losses. They've actually spilled into the environment. And when you do data visualization, you really don't want to do this thing, and then you have to be scrolling. This does not make any sense anymore. So you want to say, let's say we want to see only the top 10. So that's the idea of doing this kind of visualization, where you have too many stuff that you will need to be scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. Not a good thing to do. Now I'm going to come here, and then I'm going to do like a filtering here. I'm going to say, I want to filter this operator name now. If you click here, you will see all of the operators, very many of them. What I want to see right now, guys, is top 10. So you come to this place where you have basic filtering, and you say, no, I want to see the top. I need to say top how many? I could say top 5, top 20. Well, let me try top 10. And then it will ask me to add a feed here. What we want to see here is the net loss. So I'm going to add here. I'm going to add here my net loss. So this is my net loss. I'm going to add it here. And then I will say apply. So instead of having this scroll bar, it will give me only 10 when I apply it. So only 10. So you can clearly see that this guy is the one that is spilling a lot of barrels into the environment. So that is what this visualization gives you very, very clearly. You can see who's spilling a lot into the environment. So which is very, very good. And for this visualization, I might as well want to have my slicer, which I removed a while ago anyways, but I think that was the wrong idea. So let me bring out my slicer. If I come here, click on this thing, and then I'm going to say, put the dates here. So which is good. We have crossed 8:30 already. I'm going to try to gradually bring this session to a close gradually. So the idea is this. You want to see what is happening over time. You can scroll and everything will filter itself. So everything is going to filter based upon what you want to see. So which is good. Now let's go to look at location. Let's run very, very quickly. Let's run very, very quickly. Let's go and look at location right now. Very, very, very quickly. So I'm going to come here now. And then I'll work on geography. Yeah, I could say location and courses. So those are the two things I want to analyze here. Well, I could leave this. If I don't want it, I'll remove it. But for the purpose of it, why don't I just leave it for now? So come here, look at the different visualization. There's a lot you could try, but I've tried this map a lot. I think I like this map. So let me take this map. So to say location, I'll add location. What location? We have different things that represent the location. So I think I can use, is it city or something? Let me try this city. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Location. Uh-oh. Hang on. Uh-oh. No, not text box. What am I doing there? So we're going to look at this map. I know these maps could be very, very funny. The map sometimes could be very, very touchy, but let me go again. So if I had what I want to see here, my location, Let me see state. Maybe it will map and feed maps aren't enabled for your organization. No, it's enabled for my organization. Stop that. Let's try another type of map. That's why we have different options, but I know that one should work. Let's try this location right now. And then let's see county now. This is becoming serious. No, 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 no. Location. Accident county, accident state. Oh, 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 oh. Not nice at all. Oh my goodness. Not this one. It won't recognize this one, definitely. But I've done this thing before. But why? Mm, 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 mm. Why acting this way? The longitude sometimes doesn't work for this map. I've tried this longitude before, but saying my organization is quite disheartening for this work tonight. Mhm. Sorry, guys, for that delay, but let me see if I can still figure it out. But this is wrong to say that accident state. Change this thing to this map. But for this map, it's working. Well, this is not the map I really would have loved to use, but let's go ahead and let's put in the number of incidents. So it's going to shade based upon the number of incidents. So that's what we'll have there right now. So I don't like this map. This is not the best of map that we can get, but this is what Power BI will allow us to use right now for some reason best known to the system, not reason known to me. So we can have this. And when we over around, we can see in the accident state here, I think that's its test ax 1004. You come here, this is 57, and the different, this is just one, so 153. So you clearly can see the number of these stuffs happening. Yeah. So that is what I want us to be able to pick out from there. Now, I'm going to try to see what are the stuffs causing this incident. Let me come here and do a donut chart. Now for a donut chart, I'm going to say the values is going to be what are the causes of this whole incidents that we're having. So it's going to be now cause category, and then here is the value going to be the counts, and it's going to put it in percentage. Put it in percentage. So I've got this beautiful visualization right now. So whatever I got right now, you can see material where this is the one that is really causing us lots of problem. So if we want to start looking at stuff, want to start knowing where to solve our problems, so we know this is the one causing us lots of issues. So that's the idea of this visualization. So the point is to be able to guide our decision-making system. So all of these headers I've shown you before, how you can change it to be what you want it to be. So I'm not going to spend time trying to do that right now. So there's no point. I don't have that time. So I want to round up in the next 5 or a couple of minutes. So you can look at the economics. You can also look at the amount of money that is being spent. So this gives us what we can look at. For example, let's do only these 3 pages for the night. So now we're here. As stakeholders, you can see everything happening. You can come here to operator performance, just do this. And I'm going to put in one other chart here. And this is another AI. So let me bring this one here. This is Q&A. So I'm going to bring Q&A. Now that Q&A is for us to be able to ask questions. You can actually interact with the system and ask questions. So it gives you some idea question you can ask. Because that page is a little bit small. That's why it's like that. I'm going to try to put it in another visual board. Let me put it here. I want to make that stuff big so that you can picture what exactly I'm trying to show to you right now. Do I have space somewhere? Do I have space? So that again looks like the best place I can have it. So let's go again. Q&A as we round up. So the idea of the Q&A is that you can ask questions. So when you ask questions, the system will be able to understand, like, say, I can say, which operator name has the highest fatalities. So my highest is not looking correct. Highest. Okay. So let's see. So the system will be able to respond, even though this one is underlining this thing as if it does not understand. It should understand what I'm trying to say to it. So this is fatalities. So you should know what I'm trying to ask you. I'm not really interested in someone. Yes, this is what I'm asking. So it will just tell you Colonial Pipeline Company. So you can see it tells you it is 2. So which one has the highest amount of injury? Injury. What am I spelling? Okay, so which one has the highest amount? It will also tell you Colonial Pipeline 4. So the whole idea is this now. My stakeholders now that are going to use this, they can start asking questions. So they can type any question that they want, and this system can clearly understand. It can understand and respond. So average fatality, it will tell you 1 point. Of course, there's no point in fatalities, but you get the idea. So this is what we are talking about. And then you can filter this thing to get different timestamp that is of interest to you. Or you can go to the location and then look at the different location and see what's happening. So I'm interested in Texas, click only Texas, and then it will give you for only that specific one. And you see the number of fatalities were suffering there, how many injuries were suffering there, the loss there, and all of that. Remember, I'm supposed to put in the right icons here, but I didn't download that. I should have downloaded it. So there's a website where I downloaded this icon, so you can always do that. And then you can filter with respect to time. And if you don't want all of that, just click on this. It will click on this, sorry. It will take everything out, and here and everything will all look good. You can click on this now. Control operator performance. You can see all the operators. Control high level trend. This is just a snapshot of the number of analysis you can do when you're with Power BI. Now, everything I've done here, this is Power BI desktop. So you can publish this thing into Power BI service for your other users to be able to consume it and see what exactly that you are doing. So this is a good place for us to wrap up the session tonight. So I'm going to open the floor for any person that might have any questions that you want to ask. Anybody with any question or any comment? I'm going to stop sharing right now. I'm going to turn on my video so you can see me once again. And then if you have any questions before we shut the room and come back again tomorrow evening, I'm happy to listen to any question. Okay, guys, anybody got any question for me right now?
For me, Dr. Yakubu Balogu, right?
Yes, please.
I mean, it's more of appreciation than question, really. For doing this, your busy schedule to put out this time to offer this.